Hello and welcome to MJ Hobby Corner. I finally have internet, and so I decided to make this update. And what I would like to do is show you a couple of new scratch builds that I finished yesterday. I made these yesterday morning. And these are two little tanks for my mesh armies. These are based on the Swedish S tank. And I changed a lot of things, while I was building it. These are made with clothespins, and basically the hull right here, the top section of the hull, that's actually two pins, and then the bottom section of the hull is also a clothespin. And as I said in previous videos, I just cut the clothespin in various sections so that I get the shapes that I want. So that for the top of this hull, I actually cut this front piece here, and that gives me that nice angle for this tank. And then this notch here is also cut for the bottom of the hull. So when I put everything together, I have a hull-like structure. Now there are other materials that I used. One new technique that you're going to see in Scratchbuilder Monthly. By the way, these are Scratchbuilder June issue. That's where the tutorial will be for these tanks. I'm going to make a little discussion about building armor in this scale. And basically I'm using this technique, as I said in my previous video, where I have a little piece of index card that I've folded up, and then I glue my wheels on that index card. Now this one's a little bit uneven, but it is a technique that is helping me a lot really make the track assembly quickly, because the track assembly is everything for the tank. Now these vehicles can also have an armored skirt. You can see how small they are, so I worked very small. These pieces here are cable tie, bits of cable tie that makes the front end of the vehicle. I have a little mesh soldier coming out of the hatch there. Right, you see the little mesh guy, which I have to paint, and then some details in the rear there. I still want to make a couple of hatches to give them a little more detail, and that's basically it. So I have these cool little tanks now that I can add to a faction in one of my armies. Now the guns were made out of Q-tips, but then I added a little seed bead for the muzzle. Okay, and these are very low profile tanks. I really like this tank design, and whenever I build my tanks these days, I like to use actual vehicles, modern vehicles, to get my ideas and my inspiration. So yeah, this was an excellent tank because it looks so, modern. It's a really cool looking tank. So that's what I did. Now I have to paint these. These are not painted. I just threw a little bit of, I believe it's Ivy Green. It's a spray paint, and then I have to paint these vehicles. Now here are the IFVs next to them. Okay, so we have a nice little force, and all of these vehicles will be shown in Scratchbuilder June. Okay, we see the little IFV. Sorry if my hand's in the way. We see the little IFV with the little soldier coming out of the rear there. And those vehicles are completely modular. I can pull out those turrets because they're magnetized. And then I can add missile launchers and turn those into missile tanks. So they go well. I think these tanks go well with the IFVs. And it's a very cool little force. Now I'm just going to show you something else. So now I want to show you a World War II collection. Now these are older builds. We have a couple of Shermans back here. We have a couple of half-tracks, and then we have a World War I British Mark IV. And, these were all designed with clothespins. Now the half-tracks and the Shermans, they do have other materials involved. For example, in order to get the shape of the Sherman, I did use the shape here of the clothespin, but then I also added cardboard to kind of cover up some of the notches and everything else. And if I remember correctly, I actually used this part here, but then just had to do like 2 wide, and then I added cardboard to cover up all the notches. And the turret on those Shermans, it represents one of the older turrets of the very first Shermans. And these are wooden beads that I used. And you can see all the little details and such. Half tracks, same thing. I used a combination of clothespins and other pieces of wood to get the shapes that I needed for these vehicles. Okay, and you can see the clothespins in there. Now, these are different sized clothespins. You can get them in different sizes now. You can get them as craft pins. And so if I want to build very small vehicles, I just lower the size of my pins. Now for the World War I tank, and the shape again is not, none of these things are historically accurate in any way, shape, or form. But the shape here is it's just a wooden shape that one of my patrons donated to me. And I basically used up all those wooden shapes. And I made a whole collection of World War I style mesh armies, you know, for play and like alternate history and such. So I just want to show you just how versatile these wooden shapes and pins can be when building things, okay? The headlights, if I remember, these were tiny little wooden beads, and then I put these little plastic gems in front, but I inverted them, so you get that headlight shape, and that worked very, very well for these half tracks, you know? These are about 5 years old now, and part of my World War II collection. So I just wanted to show that. Now, the other figures are the Eagle transporters that I was inspired by Space 1999. It was one of those sci-fi shows of my childhood, and I have 2 of them, and they both come off these bases, and they can actually, you know, be placed on the tabletop. And we are using these in Planetfall right now. We're using them as a visual for the colonial ships, so the transporters. Yeah, it's really cool. Now, that base is not finished. That's obviously not going to stay like that. And that's pretty much it. But again, this is all clothespins and other materials. I should have a tutorial on these for July, you know, and these are pretty cool ships. So this is an ongoing project, so bear with me. In July, I'll have a couple of other tutorials. I do plan on making some walkers, some more walkers, and then I have an alien mesh army that I will be working on. And so you guys will see, for those of you that like mesh armies, this is now mixing some clothespin materials with the mesh. You know, it's a pretty cool way of making vehicles. And one thing that I like about this method is how quickly I can make these vehicles, right? So that helps a lot. So bear with me. I'm hoping to finish this project soon. Once I have built all the necessary sci-fi components so that I can have several armies, then we'll call it quits for a while and start on something else, all right? I have other plans. So there you go, folks. Some new tanks, IFVs, and orbital transporters, you know? So it's a nice looking force. All we need now are some more mesh troops to represent the core forces of the army. All right, and then I got to figure out how I'm going to paint all this stuff. All right, folks, thank you very much. I want to thank all my patrons. If you want to help support my work here, you like what I do, check out our Patreon. It really helps the channel. You can also check out Scratchbuilder Monthly on War Games Vault if you want to help us out that way. And I will have all of these projects will be written up in Scratchbuilder Monthly. I also have a new zine called Starbuilder, and that's this month we're talking about gas giants, so planetary mapping atmospheres and things like that. I have some pictures of some atmospheric tables for some pretty exotic looking games, okay, in gas giants. That will be in my new Starbuilder zine. Thank you very much, folks, and thanks to all my supporters during the difficult time of having no internet. I really thank you guys, and I hope to see you very, very soon. All right, so take care, guys, and talk soon. Enjoy your crafting. Have a great one.